Hey guys, this is Renee. I'm going to be doing a few spirit guide readings today, and I'm going to be starting one right now for a Scorpio who does not like coffee. I went ahead and shuffled before I start the video because usually I shuffle, fast forward through that while I do like to do some chanting and a prayer to the spirit guides as I'm shuffling, and then I usually go back and edit so I can fast forward. But today I just thought I would shuffle right before. I do need to shuffle the Goddess Guidance cards, but I'm waiting for those to kind of want me to pull to them. So I'm using the Everyday Witches Tarot, and then this is Goddess Guidance cards. These are new to me. They're just simply beautiful, and I felt called to put them out this morning in case something during the reading calls for a little bit of guidance for us. So I'm going to start with the first card here, and this is the representation for your guide. So the card I'm seeing is the number 3, which is the Empress. This is a motherly card, someone who's nurturing and caring, definitely picking up a female presence here with this card. Creativity. I feel with her holding her stomach, she's pregnant, and I feel like this means we have probably a family member. I do not feel like this is like a like someone you knew in this lifetime. I'm getting more of a vibe of like 300 to 500 years ago. So more of an ancestor than a family member. Although I guess they're technically the same thing. But so I'm kind of getting this whole vibe from her already, where I'm being drawn to this point on her crown. That point just I think it's just directing you to kind of pay attention, open your intuition. I feel like she's probably, when you're like waiting in line somewhere and you have a kind older woman who might strike up a conversation with you, and it feels comfortable. You have one of those people that starts calling you honey or dear, when you're out at a restaurant, things like this. I really feel like this is her kind of putting these people in your life to kind of brighten your mode, or excuse me, not your mode, your mood at that moment. I'm really being just drawn to her bringing people into your life. We'll look at that more when we get to the how can you tell that your guide is talking to you. Maybe we'll see a connection with more motherly or elderly people, but that is definitely just the feeling I'm getting right here by looking at this, is just this nurturing woman who is trying to bring that nurture into your current life by helping you out in that. And when you're feeling a little blue and you get someone to brighten your day a little bit, who's definitely more of a nurturing person, I feel like that's her kind of placing them there. Okay, and then we're going to see how they are currently helping you in your life. And we see here this witch tending to her garden. We've got these pentacles hanging everywhere, which is, this is the 7 of Pentacles. So we have a card of abundance and waiting for something to completely come to growth, tending to it. So I'm feeling, I know you didn't have a question today per se, so I'm really feeling drawn that this is more of a discussion about your spiritual growth rather than any other part of your life. So I'm kind of feeling this, just keep working, working patiently, slowly, feeding the bits of your soul. If you find things you enjoy doing spiritually, things you connect to, take small steps and work on that in your life. I'm drawn to this book here, and I feel like there's not very many cards with the books in them in this deck. So whenever I do see that when a book or a pen or paper pop up, I do feel like that's a message about writing things down or reading So I feel like here she might be bringing a lot of books into your life, or literature, or blog posts, different things that are connecting you to your spiritual path, things you're finding out about yourself new every day, or things you are understanding more than you used to. These are both in a garden, so I'm definitely drawn to that. Both of these are just fruit hanging from the trees. We've got grapes here. We've got, was that nectarines or apples there? And then I'm noticing like the wine glass right here. So I feel like this is definitely about, don't pluck things till they're ready to be plucked, and then you can make your glass of wine from them, basically. But I feel like she is trying to help you get from the point where you are growing and you need your patience hat on all the time, to the point where you feel the abundance all around you. The next card is, how can you help yourself as they help you? And we have the Queen of Wands here. Now, this one, I feel like this is all about just being appreciative of the small gifts in life. I'm looking at like this cat receiving one flower from her many. There's the hummingbird drinking from the flowers. This queen just has such a look of patience on her face too. So we're back to talking about patience, and their facial expressions to me are very, very similar. Like, they're not mad, they're not, to the moon with joy. They're just content and happy. So I really feel like this here, seeing these together, is definitely take account of the small things in life. Share those small things with others. Tell others when you've had spiritual awakenings or connections, things going on, things that you think other people would get something from, get growth from. So now seeing this card and looking at that book again on the table, I'm really feeling like you want to be noticing all these small things. I really feel like this is telling you journaling's the way to go, either by buying one of those fill in the blank creative journaling type things, what's another word, scrapbook? No, maybe not, but just writing things down as they come to you for your spiritual journey. So I'm also since we didn't really talk about a lot of your background and stuff, we're mostly just focusing on spiritual, but there is a theme in these cards, and often they can talk about fertility, pregnancy. When I see these though, if that's not something that you're necessarily on the path for, I don't feel like it has to be a literal pregnancy, like in the womb, human baby, but a creation inside yourself, a fertility inside yourself of your spiritual growth. Like, this is coming to fruition. It's something that's growing over time. Takes a long time to cultivate, and in the end you have this beautiful gift. And I really feel like that right there is just talking about same with having a baby. You have this long period of patience and waiting, and is anything really going to happen here at the end? And then you're presented with this child, and you'll be presented with this I think this really big spiritual awakening, something that you don't know about yet that's going to come full blown inside of you. I'm just really seeing that whole vibe of waiting. And I'm also noticing so far, even though I talked about the Empress card, how she's possibly bringing others into your life, I'm just seeing the three witches. Each is alone on the card. So I feel like this is a process that you probably feel alone in sometimes. Now there are animals in these cards, so you're not completely alone. You have contacts, connections, but you don't have people that are very close to you that you're able to go exactly on the spiritual journey with, and that's really common. Whoops. So then we have the Three of Pentacles, which our second pentacle card, all about the abundance, but also our Empress was a 3, and what I'm seeing here is that looking at working together, at her putting people in your lives, and we have this 3 connecting the 2 cards directly together, and I really feel that's what it is. It's her placing these nurturing people into your life. That is her talking to you. That's her guiding them towards you, or guiding you towards them. You guys are working together really well. You know, you told me that you've seen psychics in person. I don't know if this is those people, you know, having that spiritual connection. You know, you're going with something that you have to do alone, but she'll place people in your life to remind you you're not alone. You know, this is a solitary journey. This is something that we do have to go through inside of our own souls, inside of our own bodies and minds. But there are other people out there that are going through some of this with us. And I'm really feeling drawn to maybe the psychics that you said you've seen in real life, or other magical or spiritual people that you've met with in real life. And these are people that are just being directed. You guys are being directed together by your guide. And that is them talking to you. Just like we kind of were figuring with that first card. Okay, so what should you work on in this next life? And when I looked at this card, I actually saw this for a second, and I'm pretty excited. So we have the Hierophant, which I always pronounce wrong. I pronounce a lot of words wrong, which is, I'm a writer and a reader, and I pronounce everything wrong, but that's just one of those things. So what I'm drawn to here, again, is there are 3 people on this card. So there's that connection right there. This is about connecting with that spiritual journey, that spiritual path, really researching everything. And by everything, I don't mean, you know, become, well, you certainly can become an expert on the things that interest you most. I mean, explore, look at different paths, kind of find what's right for you. So this is your working on this lifetime. I'm really feeling drawn just to the visual here of, you know, sitting there and doing meditation. So I really feel like that's something that you're meant to work on during this lifetime. But what I'm really picking up from this card is just reincarnation. I'm getting that from, I feel like, the repetitive of 3s and going these cycles, going from birth, you know, the maiden, mother, crone, birth, death, afterlife, and over again. So I'm feeling like these cycles here, and so I really feel like in this lifetime you're just meant to work on learning about these cycles, work on learning about the beliefs that feel correct inside of you. I really just keep getting this inside of you a few times while I'm going through this, like this knowledge, this spiritual world is inside of you, and you're still exploring to open it. So looking at this, though, again with the visual, I know you've talked about going to psychics. I'm really feeling with I'll say it again, this inside of you that I'm getting is the meditation is something you need to work on. I'm being drawn to the these two cards here with the the points at the top of the crowns. And I'm being drawn to like opening your third eye, not forcing it open, but giving it time, allowing it to open naturally. And again, I'm getting that with the meditation there. So I'm really feeling like we're tapping into a gift that maybe you haven't done a lot of personal work on. You've still been going to more outside people to get some of your spiritual help. And there are people that are being placed in your life that are like these great people, but I do feel like because we're seeing, the cards that were alone, the single witch alone, we see the three people on the Three of Pentacles that are successfully working together, but none of them is directing the others. And then we have this woman who's meditating. So I really feel like your your direction in this life, or what you need to work on during this life, is just that inside third eye opening, that finding the belief inside of yourself. And I really feel now this call to shuffle these cards, these goddess guidance cards. I knew it was going to happen at some point, but I feel like this call to shuffle these a few times, and then they're new to me, so they're a little different to shuffle. Okay, so this card here, again, I'm going to mess up how to pronounce the name, but I say Sag. Quiet time. Take some quiet time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. It's a really pretty card, and I definitely feel like we're getting that whole meditation vibe again. Now, what I really feel like we are talking about here is just tapping into your inner intuition. I feel like you have some of this spiritual power that is ready to be released from inside of you, but for some reason it's almost like you were raised in a way to believe that spirituality and those who knew best were outside of you, and not that you didn't have the power inside of you. So I'm looking at these two cards, and I do want to read the guidance, the page on from this book, because these usually have really good messages inside of them. So take some time, some quiet time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. Shh, dearest one, quiet your mind, breathe, and let go of words, worry, and plans. Go into that space of silence deep inside you, that vortex of peace where the world doesn't enter. Now is the time to retreat in silence and spend time alone. I'll lovingly help you rejuvenate and recenter yourself. Don't try to make any decisions now. Just allow your mind to be at rest. You'll know soon enough when it's your time to take action. But for now, quiet your mind, rest. So there's a handful of like various meanings on the card, and one of them is definitely meditate, which is awesome because we were just talking about that. So about this goddess, the Gnostic goddess Siege is considered to be the great silence or void from which all creation sprang. Siege reminds us that the world's create duality, and in that silence we find our true origin and self. Quiet is omnipresent power that gives birth to wisdom, just as the Gnostics hold that Sige is the mother of Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. Sige teaches us that our roots are in the silent void of the universe, and that it's important for us to reconnect with silence regularly. So seeing this, I just really feel like that is that. Meditate and pull some of these answers from within yourself. Even me as a reader, I've bought readings from other readers because I definitely feel like it's good to, for me spiritually and mentally, I like to get make sure that I'm not reading cards in the way that I'm subconsciously wanting to read them, basically. But a lot of my readings I do for my own self. Now, so I don't think because she is putting those nurturing, loving people into your life, I don't feel like she's telling you to completely retreat inside yourself. But I do feel like your guide is just telling you it's time to open up some of your inner strength and see what is inside of yourself. And I really feel like just meditation, there's free meditations on YouTube, there's books on meditation, there's all kinds of ways to meditate. So I would just do a little bit of research on that. If you're not already meditating and doing yoga, you might already be doing that, and then maybe it's time to step it up a little bit. Do certain types of meditations, ones that open up your intuition, ones that help you get more into contact with your higher self. I just suddenly was drawn again. Come back here, Empress. I was just drawn again to her hand on her stomach and holding onto the child. And I'm drawn to that coming from inside yourself, the strength inside of yourself. So I really feel like that is just, again, pulling back into that quiet meditation, contemplation inside of yourself, pulling some things out. Okay, so now we're going to do what are some of your spiritual gifts, which I feel like we've already kind of been touching on some of that. I really feel like you're going to be good at manifesting and opening your intuition through meditation. But some of your other gifts, so this is actually really cool. So I feel like you already maybe do a little bit of meditation or yoga, or just opening yourself spiritually. But I'm getting this card for you for the 8 of Wands, and I really feel like that means when you step it up a notch with these, either step it up a notch or really dive into it. I feel like this means that things are just going to go so crazy, out of control, wonderful, but everything's going to happen way faster than you expect. You're going to really start having spiritual openings. Your mind's going to feel open. Your intuition's going to be stronger. You might feel pulled to start doing your own tarot readings for yourself, or read the runes, or flames, smoke, water droplets. There's so many different things we can read. I really feel like this is just showing that once you start, once you're able to step up that game a little bit, it's just gonna blow. Like, it's just gonna go so fast. You won't even be expecting it. Let me see if I see. So it's our second Wands card, and that other one was definitely how you can help yourself. And so I feel like this is connected to that for sure, because helping yourself is by, being grateful, looking at the little things, each little thing that happens, and then moving into that meditation, and just from there, like this explosion of prosperity and abundance when it comes to how fast things move. And I think that is really, really neat. So I just think that is really coming back to this meditation. And then too, I think like a little bit of you'll be able to stay level-headed in intense or crazy conflict or situations, because you're going to have this strength behind you, this meditation strength behind you. So that's That's really neat too. So then we're going to go into the next card, which is, excuse me, I had to pause for a second, or mute for a second when I cleared my throat again. So we have the moon for what is your connection with the spirit guide, with your spirit guide when you are with them in the spirit world. And I'm definitely picking up, like, this is another pregnancy card. So that to me, like, right there tells me, and it has to be ancestor, because, you know, we not only is this traditionally, but I'm looking at, like, this exact image, like the witch in the moon, like a child in the womb, the cat looking into the reflection and seeing a much larger cat, you know, like something inside. So I think this card is definitely telling us not only do we have the ancestor connection correct, that's the two of you together, but also that you are able to be your, come back here. You are able to just be yourself when you're with her and really open up. You're able to express your dreams, your intuition. You have a strong, whatever's holding you back here on earth. And I really feel like that's that something where spirituality, the laws, everything comes from outside. I really feel like that's what this is telling you, that your current beliefs are what's happening. But I really feel like when you're there, you're able to kind of be like that person who's on the inside, that big giant cat, you know, that that person who believes their intuition and doesn't think that it only comes from other people, but that they can do it too. So I really feel like that is that's awesome that we're seeing that there, because again, just tying that together, it just kind of gives me the chills. So then the next card is anything that you have to be aware of right now, and it's our first reverse card. And we see the Four of Cups, which is our first Cups card. We're looking at all about emotions, and as Scorpios, we the suit of cups, water, represents that sign. So this is just something I wanted to point out, because I'm looking at the last card. The moon had that pool of water, and that's our first droplet of water that I'm seeing here. So then we move right into this card here, and this is so we got the reverse Four of Cups, and this is just, you know, I'll hold it up right so you can see it better, but it's like this guy sitting here, he's got these beautiful cups in front of him, and he's just so darn down in the dumps about it, because why take one of these when there's something more beautiful out there? So I'm definitely still getting that kind of vibe from it, but I'm not really feeling like the feel sorry vibe for yourself, since this is reversed. The vibe I'm getting instead from this card is the not noticing the little things, basically, not taking pride and excitement, not taking stock of the little things. We do have a few books up here in the corner again, which there's only like 9 books, or excuse me, not books, maybe like 9 or 10 cards, if that, in this entire deck that have books or paper on them I mentioned earlier. But this card here, this is just about, you're not noticing these the improvements and the lengths and little messages from your guides. I feel like you're not noticing these things happen in your life, because we're having they're so small, they're so subtle, that individually we can't notice these things a lot of times. But I really feel like if you start writing them down, taking notes, I feel like you're really going to start noticing. When you start noticing, you'll start believing. When you start believing, you'll start achieving, and things will just start moving so flippin' fast. So that is exactly what I'm getting here. Now, something else that I'm sitting here feeling when I'm looking at all these right now. So we had the 3 people sitting here in the Hierophant card. We have the 3 people, 3 pentacles, 3 cats here in the 3 of Pentacles card. And then we have the 3 of the Empress. did I do this one already? 3 cups sitting in front of the man here at the table. So all these 3s here is drawing me back to, again, how do you know when your spirit guide is talking to you? How do you know when they're trying to get messages through? Now, I'm still definitely feeling that connection to her sending in nurturing, caring, mother-like people into your life. But now that I'm seeing these 3s, I also feel like that's something you need to be aware of. I'll give you an example. I went shopping last week at at 2 different stores. My price there at both stores is exactly, well, there was some change involved, but I don't remember how much the change was, but the dollar amount was $111 at both stores. That's interesting. I came home and I heard 111 pounds from somewhere else. I heard it was 1:11 o'clock. You know, it was my receipt the next day when I went to go see my friend at work at the yarn shop. You know, the time was 1:11. You know, it was 11:01. It was, my receipt number was 111. You know, like, I had all these ones coming up this weekend. So I really feel like when we're seeing these 3s coming up, you need to watch for the 3s. I have a cheat sheet here with the numbers because I'm still learning some of the meanings of the numbers when it comes to relating to our lives. So the 3 alone is initial achievements, goals, growth, creativity, abundance, expression, communication, and friendships. This is a lot of stuff we've gone over today. You know, creativity, abundance, friendships, like these are all things like that we're seeing. It can also be delays, but with the future promise. So seeing this, you know, I don't really feel like it's a delay, just I keep saying harvest. We're not harvesting in this card. The growth, you know, it's going to take time to grow, but I feel like the sooner that you start following some of these steps, like, it's just going to grow. It's going to grow so crazy. It's going to just be so big. Everything's just going to start flowing together for you. It's going to start, you know, you're going to start being able to manifest and feel like you have this real abundance in your life. So that was, again, going back to how can you tell when your guide is talking to you. You know, that's why I really like these video readings when it comes to the spirit guides, just because I know, like, I'll notice something like a pattern and I'll know it's your guide trying to tell us something, you know, and it's like a verbalizing, and it's all these cards out, and it's so easy to see. It's the same thing when I do a PDF reading, but I just feel like the energy is so different when I'm sitting here talking, because I really feel like, you know, there is an actual conversation going on here. Okay, enough about that. So even though we've kind of gone over this a little bit, this next card's going to be any advice for your spiritual path. So we're going to pull this out, and we're going to see the 6 of Cups, which, again, that's 3 water cards in a row, and then we have a 6, which is a multiple of 3. I'm seeing the, you know, the 3 flower pots up top. There's that's the only 3 I see here, but then there's that multiple of 3. So when we see this card come up for spiritual development, spiritual paths, a lot of time it's like reconnecting to your childhood, getting some of that childhood joy and excitement back in your life again. And it also, since we're picking up ancestry here, I really feel like we could have some connection to excuse me, I'm not sure of your heritage, but you know, connection to your heritage. Like, you know, say your family came from a different country or a different religion, you know, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 1,000 years ago, you know, just all these things. Like, look back, you know, find out, what your ancestry is, what your heritage is, and what kind of spiritual tools and paths did those people follow. So I really feel like there's something in there that hides for you, waiting to be found. Excuse me. Something that's just waiting for you to untap. It's hiding inside of yourself. It's hiding inside of yourself, and like a childlike excitement. A childlike excitement will overcome you when you find this, connection. And again, it's just these two cards here. It's the child connection, and it's the spirit, and that's the ancestor connection. And that I think that is where it lies, because when you discover what it is in your heritage, I feel like that people used to spiritually do, if we're talking about different divination techniques or different ways of praying, or anything that connected you, I feel like that's going to open this huge connection on this plane to your spirit guides, since they are an ancestor of yours. I feel like that's really going to draw you guys together on this plane. It's something you already have discovered and are doing on the spiritual plane, but it's something about bringing that into this life, into this current life, how to definitely connect you more to your spiritual side. So I want to, any final words here from your guide, and I'm feeling a draw, again, to shuffle from the guidance cards, for your final words. And I feel like this is just going to be like a final message from your guide. It could be reiterating something that we've already gone over, or it could be speaking to something else. It's typically, it's whatever the heck your guide wants to tell us, basically. But it's something to do with this entire reading. She wouldn't sit and talk to me for a half hour just to. Whew. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I just got like this. I think your spirit guide just patted me on the shoulders and told me to relax. That was intense. Usually it's like I can just kind of sense them in the room, but I just like felt her. That was beautiful. Okay. Whoop. Okay. So this Isis right here, past lives. This situation involves your past life memories. So, I feel so this with your heritage connection here, that's super interesting to me. So I feel like you were probably in this in the same family that you're in right now. The bloodline. I feel like you're in the same bloodline that you're in right now that you were in at one point. And this, your spirit guide was definitely very present in that lifetime. They were a direct family member during that lifetime, and that the spiritual tool, the spiritual path, divination, whatever you're going to follow, I feel like that's definitely part of that past life. It was something you were good at, and that's something that you need to rediscover. So the lucky thing is, I do feel like this is a single bloodline, so you can reconnect by researching your own family history, or your own, if you know your heritage already, your own heritage connection. So I am going to open up the guidebook here for Isis. this is nice. Your roots upon this planet are strong and deep, and some of the roots have anchored you in past memories from faraway times. These roots have anchored you so deeply, in fact, that you're paralyzed when it comes to moving forward. I've called your attention to this condition so that you may unearth and uproot past memories. Sometimes you bury those memories to shield yourself from psychic pain or embarrassment, so you won't remember those awkward moments when life tested you to the maximum. Reveal those lessons to yourself now, strong sorceress, and move forward with the confidence that you have sage wisdom behind you. So I definitely feel, again, that's just a rounded connection there. That is definitely connecting us. This was your past life, and that's probably why we're seeing some solitary cards here, because it's definitely a very inward journey for you, meditation, quiet time, inside. So I feel like these are definitely things that reflect this past life. So I don't recommend you needing to going out and like get a past life reading done right now, unless that's something you're super interested in. But what I do just recommend, again, is just going back into your heritage, into your family's past, and finding out, what was something to your people that they did. And I feel like when you start, you find out what it is, you do some meditation on it. I feel like things are gonna spiral quickly, amazingly. You're going to connect to your ancestors, and I feel like you'll start to unravel some of that past life yourself. So that was a really beautiful reading. I'm really excited for you. I feel like you are at the beginning of a journey. We're all journeying all the time, but I really feel like there's something really awesome kind of waiting for you in that heritage, and it's just going to really connect you to a lot of things. So I'm really excited for you. If you have any questions, just let me know. But I really hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed it. I really appreciated the shoulder rub your spirit guide gave me a moment ago. That was really, really sweet of her. But this has been Renee Bradshaw with the Spirit Guide reading, and I hope you have a really blessed day. Bye.